If you're thinking about moving to Texas, one of the questions you may have is, what are the property taxes like in Texas? They're probably going to be different than your home state. So in today's video, we're going to talk about property taxes in Texas, what to expect whenever you're buying a home. We're going to talk about the home exemptions for property taxes. We're going to talk about how you can lower your property taxes and the process of filing those exemptions on your property. My name is Chase with the Giles real estate team here in the Houston area, and lots of our clients call us before they make the move, and it's a common question they have regarding property taxes. So we want to make sure in today's video we give you a thorough overview, and we can't wait to tell you more. So like we said, on today's video, we're going to tell you everything that you need to know about property taxes. In this video, I'm also going to be sharing my screen so you can see exactly what I'm talking about and what to expect. So as you can see here, this home was sold in the Woodlands, Texas. That's our primary market of where we live and work. This home, 30 Evian Path, was sold this previous summer in 2022. So there was a list price of $650,000, and the home actually ended up selling for that same $650,000. Something that is important between Texas and other states is the difference between appraised value, what the property will appraise for, and what it is assessed as. So in Texas, we are what's called a non-disclosure state. So we do not have to make our actual home value or the sales price of homes public to the general public. Now, the information about your property, who the owners are, and the tax record, which we'll see in a little bit, that is public record, but what you actually pay for your home is not public, and you don't have to tell anybody about that. Real estate agents and some of the tax people have access to that data, but it's proprietary. So this home appraised for $650,000 as we see, because it's sold for that amount of money. Now, if we go to the property tax records here, you're going to see as it pulls up, there we go, that this home in 2022 is actually only assessed for $456,000. So which one is the accurate value? And the real value of the home is the price that it sold for, which is the $650,000. But what the county is doing here is they are only assessing the home for $456,000. So the tax rate on the home, this is public, and this is an important thing we look for our clients, is right here. 2.1811% of the assessed value rather than the appraised purchase price of the value. So these sellers, these previous homeowners, were only paying, you can see here, their total tax amount was $9,959. Although the home is worth the $650,000, they're not paying property taxes on $650,000, they're paying it on the $456,000. And the reason for that is they had lived in the home for a long time and they had filed their Homestead Exemption, which we will also be talking about, and it prevents the value of the home going up. It's one of the tax breaks that you get in Texas because they want to reward home ownership. So what is comprised of that 2.1% tax rate? And here we're going to be able to see that. So we've got Montgomery County tax. That's going to typically be one of our largest taxes, and that makes up 0.4. We've got the hospital. There's a Lone Star College, a MUD tax, which is how we get our water. That's the municipal utility district. There's Conroe ISD, which is the most expensive tax. That's for our schools. And you got the Woodlands Township for the Woodlands proper that's built in. So then you've got that cumulative right here, 2.1811. So that is a percentage, and that is based upon the assessed value of the property. And again, over here we can see that you've got the total, and you've got the land and the improved value. And you can see here, this total was higher than what they actually paid because of their tax exemptions, right? So whenever we talk about tax exemptions, there's a variety of exemptions that you get and rewards that Texas gives you because you're a homeowner or a landowner in Texas. And it really comes down to three main ones. You've got Homestead Exemption, there's a 65 and older Homestead Exemption, and then there's a Veterans Exemption. So we'll talk about the Veterans one last, but the most common one is Homestead. So you apply for your Homestead Exemption, and what it's going to do is it's going to prevent the price of your assessed value from going up greater than 10% year over year. So obviously the value of your home is going to go up over time, but it puts a ceiling on the maximum that the county can reassess. And you can see here last year we had a lot of growth in our area, so there was a year over year assessed change of that exact 10%, and you can see that based upon the previous year before that. Something important to realize is that since this home sold in 2022, the new owners in 2023 are going to get reassessed at a new basis. So it might be close to that $650,000, but it may also be less. They may be at $630,000, which would be great because we want that assessed value to be as low as possible because we want our property taxes to be as low as possible. Then you put your homestead exemption on top of that, and it prevents it from going up greater than 10% every single year. Another important one to talk about is the 65 and older homestead exemption. And what that's going to do is that's going to mainly target right here the Conroe ISD tax. So once you're 65 and older, that freezes. You no longer, the rest of these taxing entities can increase that 10%, but because you're not contributing to Conroe ISD, or you may not have kids in school at the age of 65, they freeze that, and so you're locked in there, which is great. It's going to reduce your taxes because once you get into retirement age, you might be looking at more of a fixed income and fixed budget, so it's a little bit more predictable for you there. And lastly, one of the great exemptions that there is in Texas, it's unbelievable, are the exemptions for veterans. So between what we really focus on is disabled veterans. And so between the percentage of 1 and 90% disability, there's a stair-stepped bracket for the exemption that you can get based on your value. But whenever you go from 90 to 100% disabled, property taxes are non-existent for 100% disabled veterans. So there are no property taxes on your home if you are a 100% disabled vet. And that is amazing that Texas really wants to reward and honor our veterans here. I think it's a super special thing. So as I mentioned before, we have people reach out to us asking about property taxes and values of homes in our specific community. So what that looks like is somebody from California or Michigan may reach out and say, hey, we like this house for sale in this neighborhood, but we just see that it's for sale for $500,000 or $1 million. How do we know that it's worth that? Because at home, they're able to get on Zillow or Realtor.com, and they're able to see that the home next door sold for $525,000 or $510,000. So they know that the value's there. In Texas, as I mentioned before, we are a non-disclosure state. So the consumer or our potential clients are not going to be able to see those private sold data points, which is where using a real estate agent actually provides a ton of value, because we are able to go in before we submit an offer on a home and make sure that the value that we're offering is justifiable for that community. And the same thing goes for property taxes. So if you've got a new construction community, those property taxes are probably going to be posted and advertised. But if it's a resale community, the home's been there for a while, it's good to get with your real estate professional to be able to pull that data, because the difference between 3% tax rate and 2% tax rate can really make or break your payment. I do also want to talk about new construction. So this is a generalization, but it's important to know that with new construction communities, the tax rate is often higher. And that's because they had to issue debt or bonds to go in and lay the infrastructure, lay the power lines and the water lines and the electricity to be able to provide that service for all their residents. And so it's going to be a higher tax rate up front. And over time, as more and more people move in, as they maybe open up new sections and develop more of the community, that tax rate is going to be paid down. Now, your home value is going to go up over time, hopefully, but you're going to be paying a lower percentage. And it's good to have equity, and we don't want to be paying, too much property tax, right? And again, we're going to file that homestead exemption so that it puts a cap on how much we're going to be paying. The homestead exemption 2 is just for your one property that you reside in. So if you own a vacation home or a rental property, you cannot file homestead on those. It's just for the property that you reside in. Up next, we're going to talk about how to file your homestead exemption. Hey, if you've liked this video or you feel like we're providing you value, please consider subscribing to our channel. We really appreciate it, and it helps us out. Now, let's get back to the video. Filing your homestead exemption is super easy. After you purchase your home, one of the first things you want to do is update your Texas driver's license, because it's crucial in order to file your homestead exemption. What that's going to do is that's going to show the county appraisal district that is your primary residence. That's where you reside, and it's proof. So once you have the physical copy of that, of your new driver's license, make a copy of it, and you're going to attach it to your homestead exemption submission form. So here we're going to look at the Montgomery County appraisal district. Super easy. We're going to go up here to exemptions, right? This very first thing is the homestead exemptions tab. We're going to click there. It's going to take us to this new page, and then there's a few ways we can file. It says you can submit it by mail, online, or at the office. We like to do things as easy and efficient as possible, and so we're going to go show you the online version here. So we're just going to click online. It's going to pull up this page for the homestead exemption. And as we see here, it's pretty straightforward. So you just enter in the year that you're wanting to file the exemption for. You're going to answer some simple questions: previous address. Right here, there's an opportunity to fill out some additional exemptions. So like we said, 65 and older, there's some disabled veteran options. We go down, they ask about the day we purchased the property, and then right here, as we see, you have to submit a photo of your updated driver's license. Then you go to the bottom, you submit it, and you're off to the races. Now, something that you should know is that it's not immediate. So they have to process your homestead filing, basically. So you're not going to see an immediate break in your taxes. It should happen by the end of the year whenever you pay the property taxes, but it's something to be on the lookout for to make sure that the homestead exemption is filed with your public county records. One quick thing that I want to talk about is protesting your property taxes. So if you bought a home last year, you're going to get a notice in the mail of your new assessed value. For example, let's say you bought a house for $500,000 and the new assessed value is $525,000. Well, that's clearly higher than what you paid for the home, so you can go and protest that to bring it down to the sales price. And there's a few different metrics, and we'll make another video on a deep dive into how to protest your property taxes. But basically, you could take your bill of sale, or you can take some comparables that myself or your real estate agent can make for you to the county appraisal district to protest and bring that value down. So what that basically means is you can say, hey, I actually paid $500,000 for my home. I think this value of $525 is too much. And they can also not, but they should be able to bring the value of your home down to, $500. Now, values increase and stuff goes up over time. So maybe you bought it in February for $500,000, but the next year it is truly worth, $525. So if you get to settle for $510, you're still ahead. Again, if you want to know more about this, we're going to make a deep dive video coming soon. So if you are thinking about moving to Texas and you're concerned about property taxes, I encourage you to reach out to a real estate professional. One of the things you might be thinking to yourself is, wow, 2% or 3% is really high compared to my home state, which it definitely may be. But something to consider is that we in Texas do not have a state income tax. So you are only subject to property tax, sales tax, and federal income tax. Hey, if you are considering moving to Texas and you want to talk to a real estate professional, reach out to our team, because we have the ability to connect you to an awesome team that cares about you and your move down here to Texas. My contact information is going to be down below. Feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email down below.